long will the alliance between Russia, Turkey, Syria, and Iran last? This is an important question. Many people believe that they can divide Russia and Iran, that the two countries do not have fundamental interests, and that they can bring down the Assad regime by playing the two against each other. I think this is a complete fantasy.
Unfortunately, the West does not seem to have a strategy for Syria. What we are seeing is various attempts to deal with symptoms of the conflict, such as efforts to increase humanitarian aid or efforts to counter terrorism in Syria. But what is really missing is a political strategy to end the conflict. Military action on its own is not going to end this conflict, and in my view, it is not even necessary at all for this conflict to be pushed towards a close. What is needed is a political compromise led mainly by the United States with participation by its Western allies.
The Russia, Iran, Turkey, Assad alliance, I think, is more of a marriage of convenience than a partnership and alliance, which is why I think it's only a temporary arrangement. You can already see that this partnership, this arrangement militarily has achieved probably most of what it could achieve in Syria. Politically, however, I think this alliance is not a long-lasting arrangement, because between Turkey, Iran, and Russia, there's lots of disagreements over what should happen to Syria, the role of the military apparatus in Syria.
April 14th airstrikes on Syria did not necessarily change the balance of power inside Syria, because it didn't demolish Syrian regime's military capabilities, but it might have given the opposition or anti-Assad pockets that Assad's use of chemical weapons would be limited, at least in the short run. So in that sense, it might have some sort of effect, but it had an impact on broader geostrategic relations over Syria.
I think that there's a real risk of unintended escalation between Israel and Iran over Syria. My impression is that neither side want to be drawn into a wider conflict with each other, but it's clear that certainly from the Israeli side, they're very concerned about widening Iranian incursions into southern Syria, a more entrenched military position across Syria, and they intend to try and prevent that. The question is whether these one-off strikes will do enough to set new red lines that the Iranians will live by, or if actually the Iranians will push back and start testing the Israeli capacity to take action. I think the Israelis are very worried by the fact that Iran does have a strong military presence now across Syria and Lebanon in terms of missiles capacity, and that does restrict what the Israelis can do against the Iranians in Syria.
We must think about the human reconstruction more than material reconstruction in the future of Syria. And this issue is very complicated now with the continuity of repression, continuity of mass killing, and the continuity of foreign occupation of Syrian lands.